I want to talk about doing. Momentum is a very interesting topic. It's a challenge. It's something that we strive for, right? We want to reach a state of momentum so that we can just keep going, right? So if you're rolling downhill, it's the easiest thing in the world, but doing the climb is so challenging. And everyone focuses on momentum and focuses on discipline and focuses on motivation. What if I told you that none of those things are actually the answer? They're all helpful. They're pieces of it. The key? And try it out. Let me know. But this is, for me, the key. You need to find the dark motivation inside you. Find a dark motivation, but then pursue it relentlessly with light actions. Think about how, and it's something I'll talk about a lot, but actions. Many people think they define us. I argue they shape us. They make us who we are, right? They change our reality, our world around us. If you clean up your room, well, it's going to be different. So what if, my motivation is to destroy this dark entity, insecurity, fear, all the exploiters out there, all those people who are causing harm, who are abusing people, who literally are making people believe false realities just so that they can control them and manipulate them. I'm looking to bring them down. That's a dark motivation. But how am I going to do it? Through light actions. And I'm not going to specify exactly all of them, but do you see where I'm going with this? Like, if you're doing light actions and the actions shape you, that means that you're becoming light. But you used the dark motivation, you embraced the dark for the light. So many people worry that it's if you go dark, oh my gosh, you're dark everything. If you go light, oh my gosh, you're light everything. That's not the case. It's not the case at all. It's a balance. Think of a seesaw. Like, you don't have to overcorrect. And so many people worry that they don't want to be associated or identified with the dark. Like, oh my God, you're dark. I'm bad. Like, what? No, that's not the case. It's not, there are factions, right? Like, they are dark and light. And you could say it's bad and good. But again, it's just, don't worry about being associated with that. Worry about what your actions are, right? So if someone calls me dark, I'm just like, okay, then I'm dark. I used it for good. I know what my actions are. So it doesn't matter if they say that I'm dark. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? You're using it for motivation, but it's the actual actions that change everything. And once you get to this point, you can actually just do, because so many people try to find a light motivation. And light motivations are great. I mean, I want to help everyone heal. I want people to never go through any of the things that I went through. I want people to believe in themselves again. I want people to be their best version of themselves, to be loving, to be helpful, to be caring. But it's not enough. When I just only had light motivations, I hesitated. I was more open and prone to getting counter-influenced by the dark. I tended to care more about getting it right. I tended to worry about how I look, my hair. I mean, and all those things do help, right? But they don't matter. Once I embraced the dark, confronted it, became one with it, control it, suppress it, understand it, use it for good, everything changed. I'm going to destroy so many things to create new. And you're going to help me. You're going to help me. But do you guys see where it's coming from? Like, you're not trying to destroy the world out of darkness, right? But you are destroying things for light. And I think where people are going to get caught is, oh, can I just excuse exploiting people and say that it's light? That's not, then you didn't understand what I'm talking about. It's the action has to be light. Exploiting is inherently a dark action. You guys see, like, if your motivation is you want to exploit people, but you have to do it through light actions, guess what? There's no way it can happen. It just can't. You physically, mentally, spiritually cannot exploit people if you're doing light actions. Think about it. That leads me to doing what we must. It really is. It's just, we do what we must. We spread love. It's the new law of the world. We've created a circle of peace around us, and now we are expanding it to include all of you, which is why we're streaming, which is why we're making videos, because once you're in the circle, you're in it. So once you step in the circle, only peace, which means you have to be able to have conversations with all. But it also begins with understanding that forgiveness is the key to almost everything. It heals you like nothing else. It truly, just think of it like if you took some medicine and all of a sudden your cough was suppressed. That's what forgiveness is to feeling sad and dark. If we're able to, everyone has roles, and so think of it as there's people who can do the damage dealers. They're the ones who attack and make the changes. They go out and actually will like pick up the trash, and they will protest and things like that. Those are the damage dealers. The soldiers, right? They're super important. They're the ones who truly win the war. But then you have the tanks, the defenders, the shields, the people that protect it. So what if they can take the bait, take the threat, the aggression from the other damage dealers, and so that your damage dealers can just go and do, right? And then we have the healers. Me. I mean, I'm a combination of a tank and a healer, but you have the healers that can actually heal people so that they can keep going, so that the defender can keep doing their job, and also the damage dealers, especially if they make a mistake and they step on a Lego and their foot is in pain. Like, I know how to band-aid it, right? So things of that nature. So we get to a point where I love healing people gladly, but once you start fulfilling your role, what you realize is it actually heals you. It recharges you. So it doesn't matter how exhausted I am, how like beat down or dark I am. If you give me an opportunity to actually heal someone, I heal. My situation improves. So what happens when we do that? We create hope. We create hope in people. We let them see a flicker of light at the end of the tunnel in the distance for the first time in forever. And that, just knowing that there's light all the way over there behind that tree, it inspires people. And what happens when they're inspired? They believe. And when they believe, miracles can happen. Miracles are rewiring faulty programming. We fix whatever's broken in there. All of a sudden it works again. We're on. I'm giving away the key, the code to the game of life. That's what this is. If you figure this out, if you understand this, you're going to play the game of life in a completely different level than the majority of people. It's time for not just me to understand it, or I would argue that there's probably select few people that are really close to also understanding it, or maybe even understand it better than I do, but they keep the information for themselves. They're not sharing it to other people. They're not. They want to keep it for themselves, for self-gain, for self-preservation. So now that everything changes, because if it becomes normalized and everyone's aware of it, guess what? You can't trick people anymore. If everyone has all the same information, we're all playing the same game. We're all operating with the same information. And you could say that maybe there's a tutorial that you can find, like, hey, like you buy a vacuum and you look at the instruction manual. Everyone has access to it. Now, some people might choose not to read it. That's fair. That's fine. But at least everyone has access to the information. And now we're playing the same game. So that's what is happening here. And once that happens, it's just quite simple. We become one. We become one entity, one consciousness, one group of humanity. If we're becoming one, I want you to think of it from this analogy. Since we all have the same information, we all have the same knowledge, even if some people don't use it, we become one huge block of cheese. I know, one huge block of cheese. What happens though if in that block of cheese, a corner or a little piece gets moldy? Those people that get infected by the dark one and darkness, and they start basically like a tumor, and they start causing problems, they start hurting other people. All of a sudden that cheese could get infected very quickly. It could spread. What if we cut that piece of cheese off? We would gladly invite it back and bring it back and try to heal it, and we're going to do everything possible. But that's where I'm saying you got to embrace the dark too. If there's someone that's literally trying to ruin the entire block of cheese, we cut it off. No remorse. People are like, well, that's not nice. That's not light. So you'd rather destroy the entire human race because just select few key, powerful CEOs and leaders and dark entities decide to want to be bad for their own personal gains, that all about energy gain and money? Are we really going to let those people be the reason why the entire block of cheese, which represents humanity, gets rotten? It's time to cut them. I can't do it alone. So what does that mean? It means that if we do this, we're all gonna be finally free. Animals, humans, birds, even objects that are created. Like, we just remove the prison that is keeping all of us trapped. And I'd argue it truly is a dark entity that is controlling everything. And they've infected key people, and now they're controlling everything. They're the soldiers. So the reason why I tell you that is, what happens if we free everyone, befriend your enemies, bring them in together, invite them in to become part of the block of cheese? All of a sudden, you're friends with the ants, the spiders, the cockroaches. What if they didn't want to be a pest? They didn't even know they were a pest. They were just searching for food, what their mission was. But they're being controlled by something. They're being pushed by something. They're getting negative suggestions spammed into their head, and they're just like, I need to go here. I need to go here. I don't know why. I'm scared. And now they go there, and of course, we as humans are monstrosities compared to them, and we hunt them. We kill them. We exterminate them. But what if all of a sudden they realize, wait a minute, we can become friends. You're not an enemy. Now, they might actually find a way to help us. What if we learn how to communicate with them? What if we could do that with everything? And it doesn't have to be with cockroaches, but it could be even just with each other, humanity, different races, different countries. Like, what happens if we work together and there's just no more slaves, no more prisoners? What if there's no more legal corrupt systems? The justice system has to be completely reformed in every single country. It's just not okay right now. It's for profit. It's for money. Judges can be bought. False accusations reign supreme. Whoever talks first wins. Like, what? Like, all of those things are going to be completely wiped out, and it's going to be a fresh slate. But if our default is to help people and work together, and we're not worried, and all of a sudden the thing that is negatively influencing us to think bad and only care about self-interest and preservation is gone, I think you'd be surprised how different you feel. All of a sudden, when you don't have that darkness inside you that's literally negatively influencing you and making suggestions, you don't actually think about exploiting. Like, you truly, it's gone. That information, that tendency to exploit other people is completely gone. And you might have lived your entire life with that because they chose you for that. You were destined to that. You were born into a family. Parents that were already consumed by the darkness. You had zero chance, basically, 1% to escape. You were destined for it. But you might have escaped, and if so, congratulations. But the majority don't. Now, you literally, your entire life, you thought that this is who you are, this is why you are the way you are, and you reinforced it. Well, guess what? If you actually healed, if you finally understand how the world works, and we cut off that moldy part that they infected you with, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. Wait, I don't care to, like, scam this customer as a sales guy. What? Why did I think that way before? I don't want to abuse my employees. I don't even want to be a supervisor anymore. I want to create a project to help the homeless no longer have issues. There's going to be shelter for all now. Yeah, let's go. And all of a sudden, the government thinks the same way, and we're not worried about paying for basic survival things and so forth. What if this entire time we thought humanity was bad, but we're not? And there's something that's influencing us to become that.